Let's go, let's go, let's go.
B-U-C-C-A-N-E-R-S.
We are a day late.
Go Bucks.
Woohoo. Go Bucks. We're a day late, but not a dollar short. The almighty Tampa Bay Buccaneers were playing last night during our regular showtime. That's why we missed you, and we had a lot to celebrate. I am beloved with Pooh Bear, TSG. The Chief is on assignment tonight, but don't you worry. We have an old friend back. Matty-ho is in the house. We have a ton of talk about NFL playoffs, head coaching changes in the NFL. We're 48 hours from a new president of the United States. What is going on with Google Maps, hockey, and so much more? Hold on tight. I know it's a Monday, but it just got better because this is the main event.
See the total yards in the game, 2nd and 8. Breeze throws, and he's picked by Devin White. Another turnover, and White picks his way down the sideline. Brady's going to take it. Touchdown.
I got you, buddy.
The Buccaneers are going to the NFC Championship.
Woo!
I am going to jump into this Frozen Bowl. Let's go!
Oh, God. Oh.
Yes!
Oh, man, that was funny.
How was that, boys?
That was
a surprise. I'll tell
Nice
you that.
job on the editing, Pooh Bear.
Did it play full screen for you guys?
Yeah,
On my
I'm
screen,
watching it on Facebook. It did play full screen.
Okay, good.
Okay.
It was all wonky on here.
Man, here's what's crazy. The quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 14 times this cat has played in an AFC title game.
Yep.
I had a buddy of mine I talked to today who's from Boston, obviously a Patriots fan. He said, listen, could you imagine the way that you feel right now is the way we felt about football for 20 years?
Oh, God.
Imagine that.
What a jerk.
I didn't know why, I didn't know what to think about that. But think about that. Man, the last 2 weeks, I mean,
Tom has now won 43 playoff games. He's 43 years old. That's one for every year old he is.
Yeah.
By the way, that's the
amazing.
same age as me.
Some of these stats that are coming out about his touchdown passes, the amount of games played, the number of wins, I think it's essentially more than half of his time in the league has been spent in the playoffs, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just amazed at all the different stats that keep coming out about this guy. My favorite, though, is that he's never lost an NFC Championship game. That is my favorite stat about Tom Brady.
Never lost an NFC Championship game. That's a solid stat, Pooh Bear.
It's my favorite stat.
Not once in his life.
Got ice in his veins. And
you know what? Also, he never lost an NFC divisional game either.
No,
That's right.
Perfect.
Undefeated.
Perfect. That was a lot of fun. We went into that game. I said to you guys beforehand, I said, I'm really, really excited, but also nervous. I'm excitaverse. Did I say it right? Excitaverse. I'm excitaverse. And in fact, our very own Chief, right before kickoff, is like, I don't feel good about this game, guys.
Oh.
And
Well, listen,
I think he had to say that because his wife was right there.
he let his wife come to the the playoff party wearing a Saints shirt. How does this happen?
I don't know.
listen, you know what? The next time something like that happens, his punishment should be no dessert.
Wow,
no
that is
dessert.
a serious punishment too.
That's a solid punishment for him.
Yeah.
No dessert. So
that'll learn you the lesson.
So, man, what did you guys think about the game? I mean, it did not start off great. We were pretty upset as fans after 2 series of football.
Oh, yeah.
But it turned out, I say all the time at boot camp that the second round is Chiefs round. The second half was our half in that game.
Well, when they started out, you got real nervous as soon as they couldn't. The special teams couldn't tackle, right? They couldn't do a darn thing.
Oof, that was rough.
Yeah, that was really rough. And then I know TSG will go into this more, but when just seems like play selection was horrible to start that, the first 2 series to start that game. Really made me nervous at the beginning there. Yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot of people, not only us, that I've heard in broadcasting today that were really worried those first 2 series, just like we were when they were doing some of the same old stuff that they had done previous matchups against the Saints. 3rd and 1, and you're taking, throwing a bomb. And, that could have really cost us. Luckily, the defense saved the day. It was really about them and Tom Brady and that offense. They didn't make any mistakes, really. And they ended up dinking and dunking their way. And overall, we come out with the win.
It was one thing that I was reading a little bit about today was, a lot of folks are saying both Breeze and Brady, neither one played stellar. Obviously, Drew Brees had four interceptions, and Brady's stats are muted. Okay, but kind of they said the greatness of Brady's play was he really didn't give anything away, right? He didn't. I mean, there was one, I guess, was a dropped interception, but aside from that, he did what he had to do without making, just to not make the mistakes to cost us the game, which in itself was pretty good play on his part. So, didn't know you guys' take on that.
Yeah, no, staying +4 in the turnover margin, that's huge because you're not going to lose too many games +4. And Tom Brady even said that in the post-game conference, press conference. So, yeah, you're right. He did not have stellar numbers. I mean, not even a pedestrian day. It was, I think, 200 yards.
Yeah.
Just not great.
Not a great completion percentage day either.
No, but that's not what they needed. The Buccaneers needed their defense to step up, and they needed a good ground game, which is what they got. So with Fournette and Jones running the ball, that's exactly what they needed to kind of get him over this hump. I think there was seriously a mental block, at least maybe not on Tom Brady's part, but on some of the other veteran players that have been on this team for a little while that have gone up against the Saints and seen Drew Brees and seen what he does, carves this team out, and to have them man up and to kind of get that monkey off the back. I'm having the visions of Steve Young doing that with the when he finally won that I think it was an NFC Championship game. Was it Super Bowl? Well, it was Super Bowl, right? Yeah,
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So getting that proverbial monkey off your back, I think that was what kind of happened a little bit yesterday. But the first half was atrocious as a Bucs fan with the first 6 plays.
I don't know that the whole first half
for the first 2 series with 6 plays.
It was tied. We went into halftime tied, but the first quarter wasn't great. But I'll tell you, we were only down 6 at the end of the first quarter, and I believe we were in the red zone at the beginning of the second quarter. So we turned it around pretty quickly. But yeah, Matty, to your point, like the special teams play to open the game, and then I think we had a 3rd and 2 on the first or second series that we went for it all.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit in the green room before we started. Like, you looked at a couple of those routes where, listen, the deep ball is going to be there for us occasionally because we have such great receiving core, but we try to go there all the time. And there was routes I saw where you had 2 guys going deep, which leaves, if neither one of them gets open, it leaves very little underneath for you to dink and donk. And, I think that hurts. But I just thought as I was talking here last week, I talked about how is one of our problems that we score too fast. And yesterday on the scoring drives that we had, other than getting our first touchdown, I think it was our second touch. It was our first touchdown where we were on the Mike Evans caught a 3-yard pass from the 3-yard line. But our scoring drives ate up a lot of clock time. And it was because our running game, we actually have a running game, and we've had a running game now for like 3 weeks in a row. That momentum is a factor.
That's huge. And, there was that deep ball thrown downfield, right? It was 3rd and 2, if I remember right. It was 3rd and 2. We threw like a 40 or 45-yard pass downfield, and now all of a sudden 4th down, and we're kicking away. I think that was the second series, but either way, we did that twice because it was 6 plays in the first 2 series, right? It was 3 and out, 3 and out. And then after the special teams, it was just like, oh, here we go, right? What are we going to do different? And then we talked about, looking at Brady on the sidelines, and I don't know, one of us brought up the point that he was sitting all by himself. And we're like, well, should he be over there firing up these guys and trying to turn things around and coaching everybody? And there was kind of 2 schools of thought on that too. But, in the end, what can you say? You can't argue with results, right? So the result is a W.
But moving forward, they're going to need a good running game going into the Green Bay next weekend. It's going to be probably inclement weather. It's definitely going to be cold. You're probably going to have some snow or some ice somewhere.
Right.
Lambeau Field in January is renowned for that kind of atmosphere. It's going to be something.
Oh, it's not going to be 72 degrees like it was here today.
No.
No. So they better get on a plane and go up there right now and start getting used to this.
I think, I think that's a solid strategy. They should be in Green Bay right now. I think back, pre-COVID, I used to do a lot of traveling for business and having a good amount of business up north where it gets cold. And about the time I had acclimated to the cold weather, I was getting back on a plane and heading back to Tampa. So that's you're talking 2-3 day trips.
Right.
I think that's a smart move. Listen, go ahead and get a hotel, go into COVID protocol. We're locked down. This is the NFC Championship.
Oh yeah.
No outside people coming in trying to, give us COVID or whatever. And let's get acclimated to the weather and go out there and play on Sunday night.
So, here, our defense, what they did to the Saints, and I'm relating this to the Green Bay game because we've kind of stepped in that realm. So our defense came up, they started doing a lot of press. They brought our DBs up, they were pressing on those receivers, and they were challenging Drew Brees to throw deep. Well, the Saints really don't have anyone super fast to burn us deep. So we were able to do that. Michael Thomas was shut down completely by Carlton Davis.
Catches.
100%.
Nope. Right. So, and then our defensive linemen, they were pressing up the middle, and Drew Brees gets rid of it quickly, forced him to throw a lot of fast passes, a lot of incompletes as well for him. And, I actually, they didn't use Kamara nearly enough. He's their real star that you just really can't stop. So, but against Green Bay, to your point, they do have a receiver that can burn you, and in Adams, and that guy's lightning fast. Aaron Jones and him are 1-2 punch. And hopefully, we'll be able to stop that run game, but we're gonna have to be real careful with Adams because he can definitely get by us and burn us. We saw what Taysom Hill did to, or not Taysom Hill, sorry, but
Tyreek Hill
hit to us in KC. So we know what a guy like that can do to us. So it'd be interesting how they approach this.
Yeah.
Well, and they got
I
a
think
quarterback
you're
who can
good.
certainly hit these guys deep too, or
Yes.
well, pretty much hit them anywhere. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, and he's playing really well right now too.
Yep.
So
Plenty of arm
behind a
strength.
really good offensive line.
pressure would be great. Pressure
I
would
think,
be great. It's gonna be tough.
Real quick, if I can back over to the Saints game in TSG, you brought up the fact that Michael Thomas, no catches. And we were talking about how, we have the best run defense in the league. Our linebackers are pretty good. It's our secondary that is bad. You can beat us on a deep ball all day long. But if you look, like Drew Brees didn't throw very many passes over 10, 12 yards. Their longest reception of the game was the one that Jameis Winston threw, which, I mean, let's go
That
back.
was the longest of the season. That was the longest pass of the
50
season.
some odd yards.
Yeah. How were you feeling as a Bucs fan at that moment
With
when
Winston.
Jameis comes in and throws a 56-yard touchdown pass?
I can't stand it. It really bothers me.
That was frustrating.
It made.
I'm no
made Jameis
professional
okay.
athlete, but I was pretty deflated. And my biggest fear at that point was that team would be deflated too. Like, here's this guy who we said wasn't good enough to play football here anymore, and he just threw a 56-yard touchdown pass against us in a divisional game.
Yeah, but I think you got to put a caveat to that a little bit because he did throw it. Okay, it was a gimmick play. I don't know, call it a gimmick play. We didn't pick up on it, and I don't think that was, the guy was just wide open down there all by himself. It was like playing catch. I don't know that speaks to we gave up a great quarterback or anything, but I do realize it was Jameis Winston and all that plays into it. But water off a duck's back, man. You just got to let that go and go to the next play. It was the trick part of it that we didn't pick up on that annoyed me the most.
Right.
You knew,
right? Yeah, I mean, Jameis Winston lines up.
Right.
He's gonna throw the ball.
Yeah.
How did everybody in the world know that guy was gonna throw the ball except our defense?
Yeah, except the secondary.
Yeah. Yeah, that was annoying. It really was annoying. And it was, it gave us some worry too. We're like, oh no, But I got some big time defensive stats if you guys want them. I think those guys deserve to be some of these guys deserve to be brought into some light here.
Okay.
All right, let's hear it.
You want to hear them? All right. So 4 turnovers, interceptions, Sean Murphy Bunting, Devin White, Mike Edwards. They all 3 had interceptions. The rookie Antoine Winfield, he caused that fumble on Cook, which was at a pivotal point of the game. They were driving down already 7 points ahead of us. If they would have scored again, that would have made things really tough.
Yeah.
QB hits. Steve McClendon had 2. Golston had 1. I know they didn't get any sacks, but they did pressure and make him force a lot of throws like we talked about. Devin White, 10 solo tackles and 1 fumble recovery, and he just basically manned up on who was that when he recovered that fumble and he just pushed him down like they were a boy.
Oh, dude, he just pushed him down. Yeah, that was great.
That was a fumble or was that an interception? That was an interception, wasn't it?
There was
Devin White had an interception, and he recovered the fumble that Antoine Winfield caused.
Yes,
right.
So he was +2 all by himself, man. It was fantastic.
He really showed up yesterday. Wow.
Yeah. 2 big pass breakups. Sean Murphy Bunting, Devin White also, and Pierre Paul tipped one at the line of scrimmage at a huge point in the game as well. So
and he said, I saw a clip. I don't know, it was last night or this morning, watching some highlights and stuff. And Pierre Paul said that Todd Bowles, the coach, was telling them, whenever you see Drew Brees look your way, put your hands up. Even if he just looks, put your hands up, and you'll get a block. And look at there, boom.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, Drew does have to throw kind of at an uphill, so
right. That's good coaching there. That's nice to see.
Good coaching. Hey, what did you guys think about the other divisional playoff games, Saturday and Sunday?
I feel bad for Cleveland, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I do. They've come so far, and it's like, man, you're such a young team that is, and they'll be back next year, I'm sure. But
listen, I think they're going to be good for a while. Well, listen, when you get that many first round draft picks,
yeah. But you run into a buzzsaw. You run into a buzzsaw that is the defending Super Bowl champ, Kansas City Chiefs. Even without Mahomes, they had a good showing. So.
Well, and they had a going down the stretch. There was like a 3rd and 13 to at least get the ball back with like 2 minutes left, and they gave up the first down. So that was the nail in the coffin for them. But that's a tough break.
Yeah, that was a good play by Henne. I mean, that guy hadn't played in football. I don't even know how long. He came in, did pretty well for Kansas City. Then I think, if I remember correctly, they also had a 4th down to seal the game. And they ran a play none of us saw coming. Kansas City did. That first down put them in victory formation.
They did. We thought they were just doing a draw and offsides.
Yeah, and they end up throwing a couple yards past. Like nobody saw that coming. But I tell you where I felt disappointed for Cleveland was at the end of the first half. They had that long play where the guy fumbled the ball out of the end zone. If you go back and you look at that, it was clearly a helmet-to-helmet hit. That should have been a catch, a personal foul, ball on the 1 yard line. At that point, Cleveland's got to do what Cleveland's got to do. But instead of putting 7 on the board, they gave up 3 at the end of the half. And Cleveland was did get the ball back in the second half. So they would have gone into the locker room with momentum and had the ball to start the second half. With Mahomes out, it could have been a completely different game.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been.
Well, it's a shame to see the refs get involved one way or the other. I mean, I guess a no call, some of the calls we were watching in last night's game too, we were saying the same thing. It's just, you know, I don't know. You hate to blame it on the refs. You know, it almost sounds like you're just whining, but some cases it's just true.
Yeah. And how about that hit Mahomes took, man? He took a big hit, man. I felt really bad for him, man. I was a little worried. He didn't know what planet he was on.
Did you see him trying to get up there? Yeah.
Yeah. I hope he's okay, man. You don't want to see anybody hurt.
Yeah, no, I don't want to see him hurt so bad, but you know, that's an open door for Buffalo now.
Yes, it is.
Well,
And I mean, that protocol, you know, do you think he'll be able to make it back for the next?
Here's the crazy thing. Did you guys see Andy Reid said today that had that concussion protocol not been put in place, Mahomes would have likely come back and played that game.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
He said that?
You know, but you remember with the new NFL concussion protocols, it's not up to the player or the coach to decide whether that player can play.
Right.
And apparently Mahomes was saying he was good to go. Like Mahomes was saying, I am good to go. And, you know, however many years ago we didn't have that, Andy Reid was been like, if the player came to me and said he was good to go, I'd have put him in the game.
Right.
And they always say they're good to go.
Yeah.
The Warriors.
But you're right, TSG. There's a good chance he's not available this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, that's huge. But
because that's going to change the tone of the game for sure.
I think that Bills win.
Such a dynamic player.
Without him, I think the Bills win for sure. I don't know how good Haney is. Chad Henne. I don't really know. I'm not that familiar with him. I know who he is. And what do you guys think? Can they still win with just Chad Henne against the Bills?
I think so, just because the Andy Reid scheme is so good, right? We've talked about scheme before, and is it Brady? Is it Belichick? Is it the scheme? Is it the player? And you saw as soon as Henne got plugged in there, he missed a couple of deep throws, but all the throws short to Travis Kelce and to Tyreek Hill, it didn't matter who was throwing that ball. Those things, because they're in the right position and there's nobody around them. They've got once he gets the ball to them, they've got the freedom to go and move with the run after the catch. So that I don't know if it's going to be that big of a deal as people are saying. That what you're going to miss though is Mahomes' electrifiability, however you want to describe that. He's such an electric player that even yesterday there was a play where he was about to get set. He bobbles the snap. He's about to get sacked. And I mean, literally the guy is in his face, like not a euphemism. He was in his face and manages to get the ball away, and it's a strike.
Yeah.
That most players can't do that. This guy is so dynamic. It's crazy. So I don't think Chad Henne has that, but the other stuff.
But he does have Kelce. He does have Tyreek Hill. He still has, there's still a good core of players around him that can pull that game off. And the Bills are good. They look good against the Ravens, right? What's his name? The quarterback there.
Yeah, listen, I think a Bills Tampa Bay matchup is the last thing that NFL's hoping for.
Probably.
But I think there's a chance that could be what you see. I think that Bills team is young, and I know Kansas City is too.
They can be around a while.
There's something about fire in your belly, and for whatever reason, that Bills team has it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and it's good to see him recover from the Scott Norwood days. Finally.
Man.
Hold on, you don't know that they have yet.
True.
They didn't win the Super Bowl then. They haven't won yet.
They are one Scott Norwood field goal in a Super Bowl away from from Jim Kelly being one of the all-time great quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
Hey, good things happen when Tom Brady goes to the Bucs. I mean, it changes in their division over there. We get new teams that come up, and then the Bucs get to come up too. Kind of changes the landscape of the NFL.
Sure did.
The Bucs were what, 2002, 2003 Super Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the Bills, that was in like 19.
Oh, it was in the early 90s.
It was late 90s.
Was it late 90s?
Yeah, it was late 90s. Their greatness spanned. They went to 4 consecutive Super Bowls. Remember?
Super Bowls, yeah.
No, that had to be early to mid 90s.
It was the first one was I think it was here actually against the Giants, and that was
Scott Norwood one.
Pretty sure it was 90 to 93 or 90 to 90.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 90 to 93.
The United States was entered into the Iraq conflict, right?
Yep.
The
Yeah, I was in middle school then, Pooh Bear, so that would have been the early 90s.
Well, I just remember Whitney Houston singing the absolute best rendition of a national anthem I've ever heard in my entire life.
Boyz II Men sing it.
How many people had hair on their head back then?
Oh, I definitely did. I still do, though. So,
I do. It's just shape.
Oh,
I definitely had a full head of hair.
hey, before we get out of the NFL talk, I don't know how close we are to that, but I think our viewers, it's important to them to know that according to Carmen Vitale's Twitter message, Vita Vea is designated to return, which that means that he enters the 21-day window in which the Bucs can activate him to the active roster from IR. That allows Vita to practice without it counting against the 53-man roster for the Bucs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It could be potentially a huge development depending on
Can you imagine if
condition.
he could go either this game or in the Super Bowl?
Man.
Oh gosh, that's huge.
It's
huge for this week is when you really need it.
Yeah. Stopping Aaron Jones is
large
gonna be
man.
key.
That's a big man.
So I'm interested to see what kind of shape he's in. You know, with 4 days practice, 5 days practice, it's going to be hard to see. But he did. He spent the offseason obviously resting his broken ankle, which was not an easy break. That thing was messed up.
That was nasty.
I believe he got
a run, Pooh Bear.
Huh?
It's not like he's got to run.
No, but you know that's you got to move. Listen, as a big guy. Talking about another big guy, I know how important your joints are. All right, they do a lot of work.
I was a little disappointed in the splash.
Right. Listen,
he could have talked a little more. You know, a little more of a ball.
I was just trying to avoid the shallow end. My running start was in the shallow end. I was trying to get to the deep end, and I forgot. You know, I'm like, well, let's go for it.
I wanted to see a jackknife or something, man. Get splash going on.
Well, great. Let's wait until NFC Championship Sunday. Let's see what happens then.
All right.
Max Smith says hello. Max Smith says hello here on the comments.
Hello, Max. Thanks for joining us.
He looks a little young to be watching our show.
He's got a lot of facts here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy Martin Luther King Day, Jr., Max. Hey, so here's this interesting week, right? So in less than 48 hours, we will inaugurate a new president of the United States and the first female vice president in our country's history. I think that's pretty exciting, despite whether you think she's good, bad, or indifferent. I think that's pretty cool for our country. But here's the thing. We'll have a little fun with this, and not fun at the inauguration, but historically, you see an outgoing president of the United States issue a number of pardons, or in some sentences, right? Commute some sentences.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not talking about like 10 or 12. We're talking like 50 to 100. Like it'll be ridiculous, right? So if you were the POTUS, the outgoing POTUS, what are some pardons you'd like to issue?
Oh, man.
Chief gave us one.
Pardon my French. Chief gave us one? No. What did Chief give us?
Not you.
I think that was Pooh Bear.
Oh, Pooh Bear did. Sorry. Who was it, Pooh? You give it.
I immediately came to mind was the Tiger King. Free Joe. Let him go.
He's got a whole bus dedicated to getting this pardon. None of these guys are driving around in a bus all around the country trying to.
Are they really?
Yeah, we didn't see that.
Joe Exotic. No.
Joe Exotic's crew, whatever, lawyers or somebody. Yeah.
Listen, I think the Tiger King was one of the great stories of 2020.
It was one of the best and worst parts of 2020.
I mean, I think that the Tiger King, I think Joe Exotic was like the number one Halloween costume for the year.
Absolutely.
As well.
It was needed. It was needed in a time that we were in, with COVID, and you could go.
It was like Netflix. I'm sure they didn't do it on purpose. Of course, they didn't do it on purpose. They didn't know a pandemic was coming, but
Or
Man, that was,
or did they?
or did it? That was great. So Joe Exotic. So the Tiger King pardon. You know what?
Does he
Here's the
get
thing.
it? Do you think he gets it?
If you pardon, I would actually be okay
Maybe.
with this.
Oh,
would
yeah.
be okay with it.
Yeah. What's the
Well, I
first
mean-
thing he does when he gets out?
Who, Tiger King?
Yes.
He goes to find Carol Baskin.
He sets up a meeting with her at Dairy Queen.
Mm.
He's going to join PETA.
So, but honestly, think of his crime, his accusation is, or what he's serving prison sentence for, is the conspiring to murder or have Carol Baskins murdered. Right?
Oh, I thought he
think
was
so.
serving time for shooting those tigers.
No.
I think it's on the murder charge or
Right.
conspiracy to commit murder
So
charge.
now they most certainly could probably prosecute him with those, animal abuse charges and things like that. But I don't think that's not what he's in prison for now.
Right.
So, but she's alive. They didn't go through with it. It's let
More
it go.
than you can say for her
Bygones.
husband, right? Her former husband.
Right. Let bygones be bygones. She just had another lady that got her arm essentially ripped off in the zoo.
I'm beginning to wonder. Maybe Tiger I don't know, museums, zoos like this. Maybe they're just not such a good idea.
They're not.
Probably not.
No,
People getting arms ripped off, people
Probably
going to jail, bodies all over the her
They're
husband's
not a good
missing.
idea. Especially
Right.
not on
No.
the small
You
scale.
don't do
The
it.
bigger scales, when you have Disney get involved with animal, zoos or aquariums, they have the money, the protocols
do
in
it right.
place. Correct.
Yeah.
So when you've got some local yokel who just is a fan of cats and all of a sudden says, I think I'll cage a few of them.
Yeah.
You got,
let me get one of those.
that's when you get problems.
I'm gonna
So
make
who
some
el-
money off of this deal.
So
Yeah.
here's I got
Who else
one.
deserves
I
a
got
pardon?
All
The
right.
Hamburglar.
What?
Hamburglar.
From McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah, from McDonald's, man. The Hamburglar.
Ma-
We clearly know he's a burglar.
Mayor McCheese, Grimace, the Fry Guys.
Well, they're
That's
the good guys. They're the,
Fry
good
guys were thieves.
No,
too.
I'm just making sure that that's the zip code
Grimace?
we're in here.
What do you think, Max?
Dude, okay.
Yes.
As a fellow large gentleman, I know you love you some McDonald's.
Yeah.
When you're on a diet, instead of getting a double cheeseburger, you get the McDouble because it's one less slice of cheese and you save calories. You know what I'm saying?
Good
Only
logic.
a fat guy knows that.
So
when
how,
When the McRib comes back, all right.
so but has the Hamburglar actually stolen something to get imprisoned and
For this
deserve
long?
a pardon?
He stole
How long has he been
hamburgers,
in
man.
jail?
He's the Hamburglar.
But he's been in jail. This has got to be going on 30, 35 years now. No one's seen him or heard from him in a long time.
Yeah,
you know what? I'm going to give you a big thumbs up on that pardon.
Who else we got? Who else we got? We don't want to lose listeners here.
The turkey.
The turkey.
The turkey. There's a
Thanksgiving
turkey gets
Day
pardoned
turkey.
every year. Yeah.
Oh, but we got to make sure that tradition continues. He could pardon like turkeys for now on in case maybe the Biden-Harris ticket does not want to pardon a turkey this year. I don't know.
Oh boy.
Turkey pardon.
I think they'll be okay with it.
There you
I
go.
think Joe
GSP.
Biden likes mashed potatoes. I'm pretty sure he likes mashed potatoes.
Come on, man. You gotta eat the mashed potatoes.
Yeah, you gotta have mashed potatoes.
Damn
I'm sure Joe likes mashed potatoes.
Yeah, really
All right,
quick,
what-
not to get too
what
far
else
away
we
yet. Hold on, really quick. I got to know. Does anybody know what Grimace even is?
A pear, a purple pear.
He can't be a pear.
Why
Now,
not?
doesn't Grimace represent milkshakes?
He
I
has
think he's a milkshake drop.
a shamrock shake.
I think Grimace represented
Every
the
March.
milkshake.
I don't know. Someone's got to be able to tell us what Grimace is actually supposed to be. Anyway.
Maybe
I say
Max.
pardon the Hamburglar.
Maybe Max knows. Max says he's Obi-Wan Kenobi, but he spelled Wan wrong. We will forgive you. We will pardon you, Max, for your
We'll pardon you for
spelling.
that.
Your
What,
spelling
um,
faux pas.
You've been
what
pardoned.
else you guys got? What else you guys got?
TSG, who would you like to see pardon?
I can't. There's nobody.
Nobody.
Wow, you're a stingy
Can-
POTUS.
Can Trump pardon himself?
I guess Pete Rose. Didn't somebody say Pete Rose?
Well, I
Absolutely.
mean, listen. I think if the president could overturn something like that, I think that they should.
Yes.
Pete Rose deserves to be involved in baseball. He is the all-time hits leader. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Let's end this charade. Unfortunately, I feel it will not. It will happen post. How do you say it? Posthumously. Posthumously.
After he be dead.
After he dead, it's probably when it's going to happen.
Hey, speaking of baseball and hits, I read a crazy stat that just came to my mind earlier this week about Ichiro Suzuki. Ichiro needed 10 at-bats to get to a 300 batting average. That was the last time he was at 300. Every day since then, he was over 10 at-bats in his career.
Well, okay, it took me a while to. So you're saying that after 10 at-bats, he was hitting 300 and he never looked back?
Correct.
That's pretty remarkable.
It took him 10 at-bats with the Seattle Mariners to reach the 300 level and never got below that.
Got below it. Wow.
Wow. That's pretty remarkable, actually.
It's very insane. Let's talk about the inconsistency. That's definitely the mark of consistency.
Well, especially because they say one of the, that may be the hardest thing in sports to do is hit a baseball.
Yeah, it definitely is the hardest. Well,
I don't know. Have you ever tried putting?
Yeah, I was going to say putting with the tournament on the line. Mm.
Well, yeah, okay, but
that's you're right. It is supposed to be the hardest. The hitting is. I mean, you're talking about the speed of the ball. You add curve to it, and you have to make a split-second decision. It's a very hard task.
Oh yeah.
Are you telling me that Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
He'd have no problem. Yep. He could stop.
That was a major league reference for nobody who knows.
We wear caps and sleeves in this league.
We wear caps and sleeves in this league.
Was that Kevin Costner?
No, that was the coach. And
you're thinking
Kevin
Costner. You're thinking
he's going Bull Durham.
Yeah.
Well, he was awesome.
The greatest game.
The one where he was a pitcher.
Not the Field of
for the
Dreams.
love of the game.
The love of the game.
Love of the game.
That was a great movie, by the way. I love watching that movie. For the love of the game.
All right, so what else we got?
What about Urban Meyer?
Yeah, let's talk a little more.
Dude,
Urban coming back to football.
Coming back to Florida as well. All right. Was a longtime Florida Gators coach, led them to a couple national titles. I wonder, will he bring in Tim Tebow to be the quarterback's coach?
Ooh, or just to be, mascot.
So here's the thing is, Tim Tebow still lives in Jacksonville.
He does. And he hasn't played minor league baseball in over a year because of COVID.
Yeah. So why wouldn't Urban want to take a look at him for something in that organization?
That's a possibility.
I never even thought of that. Good point.
But they are going to have probably the first pick, right? Jacksonville?
They do have the first pick, yes.
So they're going to get, who they're getting.
They're most likely going to go after Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence.
So
he wouldn't.
Tebow might get a backup spot.
Well, he would. I don't think he's young enough to play, but I think
he'd be a coach,
some sort of coach or consultant, or.
I mean, TSG. He's not me. He can't go out on a football field and pick a position and make an impact.
We couldn't even get you to jump in the pool yesterday.
I believe yesterday, in your expert opinion, you might have referenced the fact
he said 1 quarter
that I could play.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Well, Tim Tebow is not me.
I believe you can make a quarter, and I believe you come out alive. I think he's got the heart. I do.
In TSG, I would go both ways. I would play offense and defense for that.
Oh my gosh!
I like that.
I don't think you can make a play.
That's what I mean. That's the heart. That's that heart right there, man. It goes Iron Man. They call that Iron Man. Is what they call it.
It is getting deep in here.
It's getting stupid. Is what it's getting.
How do you think Urban Meyer's going to do though? Coming from a college arena where he can have, he's a control freak, where he has discipline, he can control these other players. How do you think he's going to do with these pro football players?
Well, we have
Pete Carroll, right? Pete Carroll worked for.
Exactly. We have a long list of coaches that have not been able to make that jump successfully. Right. High-level coaches,
Saban. Saban.
Nick Saban. You've got
football coach in college football history, probably.
Yeah, I mean, there's Greg Schiano.
I'll argue against that. I think Nick Saban is the greatest recruiter in college football history, but I do not believe he's the greatest coach in college football history.
I mean, by what metric?
Bear Bryant.
Yeah, by what metric? But he's got more than Bear Bryant, right? Or is he tied? He's got one more now.
He's
You'd
out
have
one
to
more
ask.
now.
You'd have to ask Alabama fans.
Only coach to ever have national championships with 2 different teams. That I know.
LSU and Alabama.
Yes.
Hmm.
That's hard, man.
I hope that for the sake of Jacksonville, I hope that he has to coach all 16 games to, get paid. Because isn't Urban like famous for ducking out?
He uses
That did happen.
excuses at the last minute. Oh, for the health of my family and to spend more time with them. I'm going to go and retire, and then the next year signs with Ohio State. Yeah.
Well, the good news is everybody's healthy and better now.
Yeah, it's
so
all.
It's all water under the bridge.
It'll definitely be interesting to see. Jacksonville is not a loaded roster by any means, but it's not vacant either. They've got some talent there. They have recently traded a lot away. They traded away Jalen Ramsey. They traded away Blake Bortles. It's not.
Thank you for
great
Leonard
situation.
Fournette, by the way. We appreciate Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, I forgot about Leonard Fournette.
Well, and it's go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that it's going to be interesting to see what he does and what their owner has been very vocal about spending money, and he wants to have a great team. He wants to compete with all the other teams in the AFC, but just haven't been able to. So it's gonna be exciting to see.
He's got a high for us. Is that right?
Raheem has been rumored.
Yeah, rumors circulating around that he's looking at Raheem to be.
Tom Bowles had an interview today with the Eagles.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's hot pick. He's a hot pick. He's going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Especially after yesterday.
Yeah. Well, do you think that that Bruce Arians has got him locked in for one more year at least? He said, "Hey, I'm gonna bring you up. You're gonna be my protege, but give me 2 years." Because last thing we need is, offensive coordinator leaving on our second year with Brady. We need that continuity.
Could be.
I think it's
why would he be interviewing
him? I think it's a tough decision to make, and I'll correlate it to something I went through young in my career. Is an opportunity came up for a promotion, and I didn't get it, and I was pretty hacked off about it because, in my opinion, I was the logical choice. Well, my leader at the time came to me and said, "Hey, listen, I got something bigger and better planned for you." And my response was, "I appreciate that, but this is right now, and it's close." Like, by the way, the opportunity they ended up giving me was like a 30-minute further drive than from where I lived at the time. And the opportunity I got passed up for was closer. Now, in the end, waiting was the better decision for me. I didn't make that decision, obviously, but my response was, "Hey, this promotion's right now, and it's closer to where I live." So it's going to depend. Like, he's going to have to trust Bruce Arians on whether that's the right decision for him or not. But the argument he's going to make, Todd Bowles, is, "Hey, this is an opportunity to be a head coach right now."
Yeah.
Right.
And by the way, Philadelphia is not broken.
No. Well, they've got a lot of controversy going on right now between the two quarterbacks, Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts.
That's a bad problem to have.
It is a bad problem to have, but what makes it worse is that the Carson Wentz, I think, is the highest paid player in the league right now.
Yeah, it was a bad contract.
His contract is very Carson Wentz friendly and not friendly toward the Eagles at all. So being able to move him, I think that would be a great selection or a trade material for the Buccaneers. You've got Tom Brady, who's not going to be here, after next year probably.
Right.
Someone like a Carson Wentz who has been to a Super Bowl. He knows what it looks like. Yeah, he's out of sorts right now, but give him a roster like the Buccaneers have after a year of learning from Tom. Get out of here.
What's the salary cap look like right now?
The Buccaneers, there's like $2 left.
No, I mean the Eagles.
Don't know.
Yeah,
but Wentz did not go to the Super Bowl. Foles went to the Super Bowl. Wentz
went. He didn't play.
Right.
Foles won the Super Bowl.
Right.
Because he was hurt.
He was hurt, right? Yeah. Yeah, he did. He had a masterful season.
Right.
That first season, and they bought in. But how many QBs come into the league, and before anyone's got any scouting on them, they rip it up? But the true test is in the next season, do they come back and rip it up? And he's failed to do that yet. And I'm wondering if that wasn't a mistake by them,
Mhm.
to give him that big old deal. I would have waited another year, maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah. If I remember, though, when they gave him that deal, the quarterback free agent market wasn't very good. So you were either going to have to go to the draft to get your quarterback of tomorrow, or you were going to have to overpay a guy.
Here's the thing, too. It's like,
It goes the ladder.
Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. He played well enough. He played very good. It took him a minute to get up to par, but he did do it. So you got a guy there that can do it because he's done it, right? So, but you choose the other guy who looks sexier, and maybe he's more of a protege. He's got a stronger arm, maybe all that stuff, right? And there's been reports that come out that he's not teachable. He's kind of like I know it all kind of a guy that's been coming out on the news from inside reports and stuff like that. But I mean, how do you not take the guy who wins the Super Bowl, right?
Mhm.
And all the players love playing for Nick Foles. They're motivated. When Nick Foles would come in and play, they all were, jam up, and they were excited to play for him, and not so much for Carson Wentz. Reports that I've heard coming out of their from their team. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, he didn't have as much time to build up that excitement from everybody else on the team, right? So, at least not right away.
Yeah.
So I think that was part of it.
His contract is 4 years, $128 million. So he's got 2 years left in that contract. It's $32 million per season. He's number 8 in contracts right now, behind Mahomes and Watson, who just had their big deals this summer. So
yeah, they just got signed, and we owe Tom another 30.
Yeah, and there's another quarterback who may be open for trade is Deshaun Watson. He's got a lot of falling out going on with the Texans right now. They've got a new general manager who is not his guy. They're going to have a new coach. It's not his guy.
I tell you what, that could be a good matchup for Urban Meyer. He likes the razzle dazzle quarterbacks. He had him at Florida and at Ohio State that could run and throw.
So maybe pull off a trade with Deshaun Watson with the number 1 pick.
That could be good for both of those people.
Yeah,
for Deshaun and the Jags.
Yep, and
you're really smart about football.
Tua Tagovailoa, whatever his name is supposed to be able to be up for grabs as well.
From Miami.
What?
Really?
Yeah, the Dolphins are not happy with him. They can't. He's got a lot of inconsistencies. Remember how they kept going back to Fitzpatrick?
Yeah, but then what are they going to do?
He was a rookie.
You're telling me? I know.
No. Listen, everything went wrong with that club after they got rid of Dan Marino.
You're darn right. Coming at me with Scott Mitchell. Get out of here.
Listen, the next Man Event live show that we have, could you please do us the honor of having your Dan Marino jersey hanging in the background somewhere?
I can go get it right now. It's right there. It's in that door right there. You want me to get it?
Oh, you got to save it for next time. Oh, you're going to go do it?
He's going to get it.
Yeah.
So, all right, while we're waiting on Pooh Bear to come back, the NHL season kicked off this past week. The Lightning already looking in Stanley Cup form.
Wow.
And without the sniper.
Yeah.
And
these guys are scoring a lot of goals.
Yeah. We dropped out. We won the first 2 games by a big margin. If only every game could be against the Blackhawks.
How about that?
Wow.
Dude, Brian, you're my favorite fan. Love you, Dan.
Hey, why is there mustard on the jersey? What happened?
I had to wear it twice.
It's a real beautiful jersey, though.
I wore it twice.
Hey, if they wouldn't have given him the number 13, they might have won a Super Bowl.
No, you don't give Dan Marino number 13. He takes number 13.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Yes.
And you know what he gives? He gives isotoner gloves.
That's right. And is great in Ace Ventura.
He was.
Oh, I thought he was better in Bad Boys. I thought he was better in Bad Boys.
So did I hear someone talking Lightning?
Well, we started to. Pat was getting into it, yeah.
They are 2-0, and they don't play again until Thursday. I'm so bummed, man. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? for the next
They are
3 or 4
2-0.
days.
They got 10 goals already, right? In 2
Yeah.
games. It was nice.
Well,
5-1 and 5-2.
I will say this: don't get too excited. Chicago is an absolutely terrible team,
Don't care.
right?
The second hardest
So-
thing to do in sports is score a goal.
I don't know.
After hitting
TSG,
the
do you
baseball?
think I could take
Yep.
the ice?
What's
I
that?
have no idea that that's true.
TSG, do you think I could take the ice?
Gosh, this guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like a deer.
Let me ask you, do you have something on TSG like he's got to pump you up?
Oh, that's it. He just loves to get that head inflated. So when TSG says silly stuff like, "Hey, I think you could be the one that would survive a quarter of football," it just get out of here, man.
Let's put Lovell up against Dick Butkus and see what happens. Head to head.
I don't think you could score a goal on Lovell. He'd be a good goalie too, man. He's covering it side to side, baby. You got to watch out, man.
Oh my gosh.
See him
Did you see me in that video at the beginning of the thing?
man.
That's an insult to goalies throughout
Yes.
history. Patrick
Hey.
Waugh is so mad right now.
Patrick was just laughing. He's like, "What?
Yeah.
What?"
Hey,
Yeah, I don't know if I could play goalie, Pat. I don't know. I think I
Florida
could.
cracker who can't
probably
even skate.
I got you at
I
35.
have to play offense though because I can't skate backwards.
See,
Yeah, I know. Neither can I. But hey, Andre
Unbelievable.
Vasilevsky can definitely. He is a good goalie. He had 35 saves in the 5-2 contest, .946 save percentage. He only allowed 1 goal in each of those games. You got Palat, who is very involved in both of them. Killorn got a goal.
nice to see.
Yeah, it was really. Stamkos got a goal too.
Yeah, they're definitely spreading around.
Yeah,
So
I
they're-
believe in the first game they had scored 5 goals with 5 different players.
Yep.
Yeah,
So I like this new format, and this was something I kind of advocated for probably for the past 10 years. Just when people talk about how hockey is not as television friendly as other games, and people don't see it's definitely number 4 in the United States, right? Behind baseball, football, baseball, probably basketball, I guess, and then hockey, right? As far as the major sports goes. So how to increase that kind of the viewing atmosphere. So my idea was to take a little bit from baseball, take a little bit from football. Football's so exciting and gets so much work up because of there's only one game on Sunday, right?
Mhm.
You have all week to build up to that matchup, just like we're about to do with this NFC Championship game against the Packers and the Bucks, right? So, and then baseball is exciting because you have a series. You have 3 to 4 games, sometimes 2, to play a team. The Yankees come to town, you get geared up. Yeah, we're going to beat the Yankees. You're excited to see that third game. If there's a split, you get the rubber match game. It's just it's more exciting. So hockey could do something like that, where they have a team come to town, which is kind of what they're doing now. But you have a team come to town, and they're here. You play Thursday night, maybe Saturday night, and then the Sunday afternoon game, or Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. That'd be kind of tough with the way hockey players play. But you'd have to kind of expand the rosters to kind of compensate for that, because it's just too much to play 3 games in a row.
Right.
But that would give you that kind of almost a rivalry every weekend. You've got all week to practice. You've got the build up. You can have the interviews. You can have people doing different things with the press. So I just think that would be a good shift for hockey. And obviously they're not coming to me asking for advice, but hey, whatever.
So no more Tuesday night games.
No, I mean, maybe you could do a weekday series, or maybe you could specialize. So if you've got your 2 big markets, say the Bruins and the Blackhawks are going to play a series, move that, isolate it, kind of like a Monday Night Football, where they're the only ones doing it. That's the only game to watch. So you isolate that series, or maybe the series spreads to where the final game is on a Monday night or a Tuesday night, what have you.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that the NHL playoffs just take entirely too long and people lose interest if it's not your home city going down the stretch?
If it's not the Lightning, I'm not watching.
Right.
It.
And you're a sports fan.
Right.
So how do you grow the base with people if your postseason play, it takes 2 months to get through? People just start to lose interest. I mean,
I think that comes with recognition. So for instance, if the Chiefs and Bills were playing this weekend, I have an interest in that game because I want to see what Patrick Mahomes can do.
Mhm.
I'm not a Chiefs fan. I'm not a Bills fan, but I will watch to see what they can do. I want to see what Josh Allen's going to do. So having that relatability with a player. So if it's, not my team, it's out of market. I want to see what Jonathan Taves is going to be able to do. I want to see what, how good of a goalie Gary Carter is going to be. It's just, you're going to have to identify and associate with a player, but that's not happening right now.
I'll say, Pooh Bear, you bring up a huge point I had never thought of until you said it, but every other league in North America advertises their players.
Right.
And hockey does not do a very good job at that.
They do. It's just that the money's not there. So if you watch a Lightning game or any hockey game, you'll see advertisements. Matter of fact, there's one going on with I think it's Absolute Vodka. One of the vodka companies has a couple of players. They've named drinks after them, and they have this kind of a cycle.
So I mean, like when they're advertising the upcoming game, right? So when you looked at the NFL advertising the playoffs are coming, their commercial was all of these marquee players making amazing plays. Okay. Hockey doesn't do that really great. Like when you think about it, unless you're a true avid hockey fan, you probably don't know who a lot of these players are.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I guarantee it's happening on Canadian TV.
I'm not an NBA fan at all, but I could probably rattle off to you right now 10 players in the NBA.
Right. Well, and that's because the NBA does a good job of that because there's a television contract. So I believe TBS and ESPN have a huge contract to broadcast the games. Nobody has a contract to broadcast NHL games right now. NBC is your best bet, and they do a once a month essentially until the playoffs.
Sense.
So
that makes sense.
NBC is the one that's going to put the money behind that to advertise those upcoming games that you're talking about. And if you're not watching NBC Sports, you're not going to see it.
Right. Yeah.
So
I think
they
the
do.
Commissioner of the NHL say last week that the league would lose less money this year if they just wouldn't play games.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it one bit.
I mean, that draws into, it makes you worry about, like, in this case, you're saying they don't have a TV contract. So that makes sense. That's what's keeping baseball and some of these other leagues that don't have fans or have reduced games, still in the mix, right? Because they have television and radio revenue. But if the NHL doesn't have that, it is hurting them to play games to empty stadiums.
Yeah, well, it's localized. So, the Lightning have a contract with Fox Sports, Sun. So, but that's a whole nother issue with their being banned from, or not banned, but they're not signing contracts with the cable providers now. There's only one cable provider showing Fox Sports South content. And I think it's T-Mobile or
AT&T. Does NHL do revenue sharing like other sports?
I believe so, yeah.
I do, yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah. Well, there's got to be some. I mean, it's a great sport. It's great to watch. I mean, that is by far the best game to watch live, right?
Is by far the best thing to watch live.
It's constant action.
Yeah.
And if you learn just a little bit about hockey and get familiar with some of the players, you will be hooked. And as a matter of fact, if you are a new hockey player, I believe breaking it down with Pooh Bear, we're going to have a segment coming out that's going to go over some basic hockey terms and different things like icing and offsides and things like that. We'll be releasing one pretty soon.
We're working on it, folks.
Stay
tuned.
Know
there's probably a lot of you that have watched, maybe got geared up for hockey season by watching the Lightning win the Stanley Cup this past season.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not a natural hockey fan. Maybe this is the first time you've ever watched hockey. So don't worry, we're here for you. We're going to build a series based on this. Where we're going to help walk you through some of these hockey rules because it's so different. It is not. I mean, the closest thing you can get to is maybe soccer, and nobody likes soccer, so we know that.
Yeah,
not here in America, right?
I didn't get a reaction out of B-Love.
I mean, I would say that probably more people in this country watch soccer than they watch the NHL.
I
don't know about that.
I mean, and I'm not hating on the NHL.
No, I know what you're saying, but I don't know. Maybe in sheer number, like when you say more people in this country.
I didn't say Major League Soccer. I said soccer.
Yeah. Well, okay.
They do have vans. And
you got to compare professional sports.
He's probably right though. There are a lot of people here from other countries that grew up and that's all they had which, by the way, is the argument for, or not just an argument, it's the fact as to why soccer is so popular throughout the world. They don't have anything else. If they had football, it would be the more popular sport. If they had baseball, it would be more popular.
Hockey's not near. Obviously, soccer is the most popular sport in the world for sure,
Right.
by far. But hockey is worldwide as well.
Yes.
Or
Heavily European and Canadian, obviously, North American and
the
European.
countries with cooler weather. Like it's not popular in Africa,
Correct,
or South America,
or any of the Asian countries.
Yeah,
It is growing here. I think I don't know, maybe not growing, but look at Tampa, for example. No ice, no snow to be found, but that place was sold out almost every game.
every game.
COVID,
it is sold out every game.
Yes,
before
Yeah.
COVID.
So
that's 16,000 fans a game.
This is a rabid hockey town when they're playing. And you know what? And we're not alone. Nashville is too. Nashville's a huge fan base for the Predators. I think you're getting a lot of stuff from these non-traditional markets: Columbus, Carolina, Florida with the Panthers, not so much, but Tampa for sure.
Yeah.
So it's people fall in love with it so easily once you get past the funny names and the funny rules, and you're just like, what? But man, the action when you see your favorite player score a goal live.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, there's nothing like it.
I definitely think it's a great sport. It just, for whatever reason, it doesn't have the same following. And I think that's because,
Agreed.
I mean, the sad thing is, like, the league initiated in Canada, and a lot of the Canadian teams defected to the United States. So like their stronghold on the sport has kind of loosened up.
Yeah. So, B-Love, I know I've blown your head up today.
Oh boy, here we go.
Thanks. No. So instead of, I'm gonna say, I think I made you a little too confident. So let's say professional sports. We could maybe make this the wig of shame for next week. Whoever wins it. Okay. Professional only. Who has more viewership? Soccer versus professional hockey in the United States only. You taking that bet? You taking that bet?
I have no idea. It was just a guess.
Oh, here we go.
Well, then
I'm assuming that while we were talking, you've already Googled this statistic.
No, I did not.
He's setting you up for failure, man.
Scout's honor.
Hey, you should never make a bet you're not certain about. So that was a good job, TSG.
That's virtual pickpocketing right there.
All right, listen, we got one more.
Hey, how about this? Well, I can't cheat on. Why don't we make a quick prediction on the playoff next week for the wig of shame?
Well, we're all going to pick the Buccaneers.
I'm pretty sure we're all going to pick the same teams.
Bills, KC. I'm picking Bills.
I have the Bills. I'm taking the Bills.
Me too. I like the Bills.
What?
I've been picking the Bills all season long.
All right,
except
you get to pick. You get to pick for the Chief.
Matty, you got to pick for Chief.
I get to pick for Chief. Let's see here. He's going to go. He's going to think that Mahomes is going to be back somehow, so he's going to go with the Chiefs.
He's going to overthink it.
And because he's the Chief.
What's your pick?
That's tough. Josh Allen is looking good. I don't know. I'm gonna go Bills.
Yeah,
there you go. And then the Bucs in Green Bay.
Let's go.
Like and subscribe.
If Chief's wife shows up with a Packers jersey on,
no dessert.
No dessert.
That's the rule.
I like it.
Right. Are we done, or you want to talk about that one more thing?
One thing. Where I know we're over time, but Pooher, you mentioned this was pretty funny or interesting, but you mentioned the fruits of a Google Earth search this week.
Oh, this was okay.
Yeah, so a guy in South, well, I don't know where he was, but the neighborhood was in South Florida. He was looking at his old neighborhood via Google Earth and thinks he sees a shadow of a car or a silhouette of a car in a pond. So he calls up a former neighbor that he knows is in the area, in the neighborhood, says, hey, can you go and check this out? Guy's like, yeah, no problem. I've got a drone. I'm going to fly my drone over there. We'll see what this is. Flies the drone over, and sure enough, it's a car. And so that guy contacts the police. He's like, hey, there's a car in this pond behind my house. Police show up. It's a 22-year-old missing person case. The guy that had been missing for 22 years was still in the car, unfortunately. His body was. So they pulled the car and essentially solved the missing persons case.
Wow.
So it's kind of crazy stuff you can see on Google Earth. There's and it reminds me there's a whole webpage or whatever they are now, these forums of a guy that spends his time, or people spend their time looking at Google Street View, finding funny things. And there's like this whole list of things where like a guy trips on a traffic sidewalk, and somebody, a dog is humping another dog or something. Just some funny stuff that you would see when these Google cars drive by taking pictures.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
well, like stories now and then. There's some good ones.
Even mine, I've got my neighbor. He's on the roof putting up his Christmas lights. If you look at mine, his daughter's in the front yard sucking on a lollipop, and she's looking at the Google car. It's just kind of
awesome. That is awesome.
Guys jumping in the pool midwinter.
I got
probably catch that.
If you go by my house on Google Maps, you'll see me in the back cleaning off my lawnmower.
Look at there. See,
famous.
There's a mystery car in my yard. I've got a mystery car in my driveway on my image.
You have no idea who it is.
No idea who it is. It's a gray Hyundai. It's probably one of my neighbors had somebody over and said, "Hey, it's okay. It's cool to park there, whether at work or something." But whatever.
Yeah.
All right, we are over time. We are overdue. We were supposed to be here yesterday, but unfortunately, had the Buccaneers to watch.
We have priorities, so
you got that right. We got to jump in pools. So we will be back next week. The Buccaneers play at 3:00. Hopefully, we are here in a good mood, pounding our chest, soaking wet from jumping into matty-ho's pool or wherever we end up.
We'll be here. We can be here.
Sweet. So if you like this content,
next week,
like and subscribe.
For clarity here, Pooh Bear, for next week, we will be at 7 p.m. or immediately following the Bucs game, whichever.
Correct. Yeah, the game starts at 3. I can't imagine it going 4 hours, but yeah, we may need it. We may need an hour of prep time.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
all right.
Bucks, go Bucks.
Thank you for watching. Go Buccaneers. We'll see you next week. Good night.